Over the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity to work with telehealth providers, both big and small, throughout the United States, Europe, and even one in Singapore. Working on our clients' SEO and Google Ads, as well as seeing what their competitors have been doing, has helped us gain a number of insights into what works in this niche of healthcare. And in this video, I'm going to share 15 of the lessons that we've learned. My name is Frank. I'm the founder of SagaPixel. We are an SEO and PPC firm that focuses on digital marketing for healthcare providers. So the first thing that we've learned beyond the doubt is that telemedicine has to start by focusing on establishing trust. People are not totally used to telemedicine yet. The vast majority of the visitors to your telehealth website are going to come with some level of trepidation, and it's critical that you do everything you can to overcome that concern and establish trust right out of the gate. This is directly tied to that second lesson that we learned, is that without a review acquisition strategy, you're going to be dead in the water. We've found with every one of the telehealth providers that we've worked with that brand plus reviews or brand plus Reddit were among the highest volume searches related to their businesses. We're usually the second highest volume searches after just the name of the company. Patients are looking at what other people are saying about your telehealth platform before they're booking with you. It's really important to make sure that you're driving your happy patients over to these platforms to leave positive reviews about you. And you really need to be part of the conversation happening on places like Reddit, or frankly, any websites that are ranking for searches like your brand name plus reviews, as well as Reddit. Just pay attention to Reddit. Number 3, your website cannot be anything short of world class. Take a look at some of the big providers out there, GoodRx, Clarity, Cerebral. You're going to find that these websites inspire confidence. They look professional. One of the mistakes that we've seen with a couple of our clients that were resistant to making changes to their websites, as well as some other competitors that seem to have floundered in acquiring market share, was a lackluster website. Not only does your website need to clearly communicate your value proposition, whom you serve, it needs to inspire confidence. People don't want to go visit a doctor in a shady strip mall, and they don't want to visit a website that looks like it belongs to a doctor in a shady strip mall. You really need to make sure that your website is world class. Number 4, you need to have crystal clear calls to action. Have a book appointment button on the mobile version of your website, no matter what page they're on. Or if you want somebody to complete a questionnaire, to start an intake or anything like that, you need to have those buttons on the mobile device, and they need to follow the visitor around. Number 5, Google Ads can work, but in our experience, it didn't work every single time. Now, one thing that I can say is that of all the Google Ads campaigns that we ran, not a single one that was sending traffic to a good website with a provider that has been acquiring reviews did not convert. All of our major telehealth providers did a really great job when it came to converting the traffic that we were delivering through Google Ads. There were a few that didn't, and in every single case, it was a lackluster website for a provider that didn't really have reviews. Number 6, sign and symptoms keywords can drive conversions. You just need to know how to do this content the right way. In other words, you can be the WebMD of your niche of whatever it is that you do. You need to be answering the types of questions that your patients are performing on Google, but also doing it in a way where the introduction is very clearly explaining that you can help with this condition and that they just need to do something, whatever your call to action is. Number 7, pay very close attention to your demographics and your audiences in Google Ads. In every single campaign that we ran, we saw very clear patterns where luxury shoppers converted very well or converted very poorly, or younger audiences or older audiences tended to convert better, and very often the exact polar opposite of one another in different markets. I mean, we ran one campaign where the best converting cohort was 45 and above, and then the exact same client in California versus New York, it was actually the youngest cohort. It was like 24 to 35 was the best converting cohort. You need to really pay attention to this. You need to make sure that you're segmenting your campaigns so that you can react to this in different markets, and then pay attention to other dimensions like time of day, the devices that people are on, and do everything you can to make sure that you can tweak your Google Ads account to respond to this. And remember, your customers in Wisconsin are not the same as your customers in Miami. Number 8, smart campaigns and Google's Performance Max campaigns will either perform really well or really poorly. I've found a lot of questionable data with the smart campaigns and the Performance Max. I think that there is some click fraud going on that Google hasn't really started to contend with. However, if what you're doing is running a campaign where money actually exchanges hands, where this isn't just a simple lead generation campaign, that's not really going to be a problem. What we've seen was we very regularly found that these campaigns were bringing down the cost per acquisition anywhere from like 25 to 50%, and even a few that were more than that. At the very least, you should test them against your traditional responsive search ads. Another thing that we learned is that Google Ads may not be profitable in every single state. We ran campaigns that were extremely successful in places like Ohio or Pennsylvania, but for whatever reason, Wisconsin and Minnesota were just a dud. In some cases, you may need to just cut your losses and not run ads in those states. In our case, we never actually figured out why this was the case, but the data didn't lie. So the next one, make sure that you're getting medical review of all of your content. This seems like a no-brainer, but there are a lot of medical websites that are just hiring an SEO company, they're hiring some freelance writer out there to just churn out content for them, and it's never getting any sort of medical review. Aside from the ethical considerations of putting out content that may or may not be totally accurate, Google is getting better and better at identifying content that was written by a layperson versus an expert. It's not difficult to train an AI to identify how a doctor or how a lawyer writes. And Google is using this as they analyze all the content that they index. Getting medical review of your content is a lot more than just being able to slap in a medically reviewed by so-and-so on your blog. It's going to add that layer of expertise to the content that Google is going to identify, or not if you're just using a freelance writer. Next one, make sure that your content reflects scientific consensus. I know that you may be in alternative medicine, or you may be in a new area of medicine, but you're playing with fire if you're putting out content that does not reflect scientific consensus. Google has been on the warpath to weed out any sort of misinformation on the internet, or at the very least in its search results. And it's figured out ways to determine what the consensus is about a topic. And if you have a too contrarian of a view, you may end up tanking your entire website's search traffic. Let's look, for example, at food blogger The Food Babe, whom my physician wife really can't stand because she feels that she's putting out a lot of misinformation on the web, and Google seems to agree. Back in 2015, according to Ahrefs, this website was getting in the ballpark of about 200,000 visitors a month. We're at like less than a tenth of that traffic these days. If you're okay with running the risk of seeing your traffic go down 90%, then go right ahead and publish your fringe views, but know that Google's probably going to cut your traffic off eventually. So another thing that I wouldn't say that we learned, but that's worth bringing up, is that there are 4 types of content that you can do for any medical practice, including a telehealth practice. The first is signs and symptoms. These are articles such as signs that your spouse is a narcissist, or diagnosis searches like online ADHD test, or conditions versus conditions. Do I have anxiety or OCD? The second type of content is treatment versus treatment. Vyvanse versus Adderall. Adderall versus Ritalin. Someone that is already getting treatment or is considering getting treatment may have heard of these drugs and they want to see how it compares to something that they're already taking, or they just want more information about what they think they're going to get prescribed if they book an appointment with you. The third is questions about treatment. This can range from questions about insurance to the specific types of treatment that they may receive, in particular if you offer therapy. The fourth, which you may not have considered, is location plus treatment. Again, telemedicine is new to a lot of people. A lot have not even really considered it as an option. For example, you have every day in every city across the country, people performing searches for therapists for anxiety near me that haven't even thought that, oh, wait, I can see somebody online. If you have pages that are ranking for all of these local markets and present in the title tag that you offer online treatment, in particular if you're dealing with busy adults, I guess people like me, they're going to click on it and they're going to check you out. For the most part, people don't want to have to find a babysitter and drive across town to see a therapist or a doctor. Another lesson we learned was about link acquisition strategies that work for telemedicine and ones that don't. Telemedicine being a your money, your life niche, as Google refers to it, can be a little difficult to build links for. Nobody's heard of your practice. Your content has to be spectacular if somebody's just going to want to link to you this blog that you wrote, which, let's be honest, they're probably not interested in the first place. So you need to have some better strategies around it. One that I'm a big fan of is digital PR. This consists of producing content that provides unique data, tools, assets, maybe like images that you've created, slideshows, basically creating something unique and putting on your website, something that you can afterwards reach out to a journalist and potentially be able to get some press about. This can range anywhere from like fun stuff that's pop culture-y, top 10 fictional narcissists from movies. In some of those cases, you may actually be able to get links from highly authoritative websites that maybe are fan websites, linking back to the article that you wrote. Another way that you can acquire links is through writing posts for other websites. In this case, you would perform outreach to websites that are about your niche or that somehow intersect with it. So a therapist, for example, could potentially write for a parenting blog. You get the idea. Another strategy that works very well for medicine is the creation of link magnets. This is usually content in the form of statistics and definitions. So somebody performs a search such as how many kids have in the US? The top result here has acquired 16,000 backlinks from 4,000 websites. The number 2 one has acquired 1,000 backlinks from 513, and the list goes on. In other words, people are writing articles for their own blogs, and they need a statistic to back up some statement they're trying to make. They also need the site where they got the statistic, so they end up linking back to the source. This can be an opportunity for your website to create a flywheel of link acquisition. Finally, basic on-page SEO can go a lot further for a telehealth provider than you would think. In one case, we got a telehealth client to top of page 1, number 1 result within 1 month for the main keyword that we were targeting. That was before we got to do any sort of significant link building. It was really just on the back of really good on-page SEO and a great user experience. They have a great website. So make sure you're working with a good SEO provider. If you'd like to schedule a time to talk with me or someone from our team about your telehealth practice, go over to our website, fill out the contact form, and book a time. Looking forward to meeting with you.